Good morning. My name is Niyia Beavers. I am in BSUP 210 Business Communications and Professional Development, Fall 2019. And today I am focusing on Malcolm Gladwell's Talking to Strangers Super Soul Conversation. So the key point in the podcast was how everyday people walk around thinking we know how people feel, and in reality we have no idea about how people feel. We judge off of facial expressions, we judge off of body, tone, voices, and how we perceive people to be thinking, when in reality most of the time we are false. Gladwell focuses on sounding bland, which was a critical time in America's history. A couple of years ago, honestly, Sandra was leaving PV after moving down from Chicago in Texas, and a police put her over for not putting on a traffic signal. So her excuse was, well, I only got out the way because you were speeding up behind me. So after that, the conversation was going good between the police officer and Sandra Bland, and he asked her to put out a cigarette, and she pretty much wanted to know, what right do you have to tell me to put out my cigarette? And from there, the conversation got hazy. The officer got offended and wanted to arrest her and told her to step out the vehicle. She stated she wasn't getting out the vehicle, and he ended up telling her, I will light you up. So in that case, she pretty much started recording on her phone, and he did drag her out the car and arrest her. 2 days later, she committed suicide inside her jail cell. Watching the podcast, nothing was really unclear to me. Being a black woman in America, everything pretty much made sense to me. I was born in '97, so I missed what I was supposed to miss, the racist era and the Jim Crow era, but no, we still pretty much live in that era even in 2019. And the Sandra Bland case was one of many of this new era of police shootings and police brutality. So it is pretty much awakened a new time in America, and the Sandra Bland case opened up protests in America and riots in America because the people was upset. One thing that was unclear to me was how we think we know how someone feels, how we perceive someone, and in reality, we don't know anything about that person. One thing that relates to this topic is pretty much the other killings in America, but one point that's recent that's a case that's actually on trial now is the Amber Geyer case. She was a police officer, supposedly going home after a long day of work, and went into the wrong apartment building and shot an innocent black man. And now that she's on trial, she is very remorseful while she's on trial, but honestly, I think it's just from the ridicule of the press. She states she wished he would have shot her instead of she shooting him, but in reality, that's not how she truly feels. She also stated, I shot an innocent man. Many times police officers do shoot innocent people. Yes, I did do research outside of the podcast. I also Googled Gladwell just to see what his ethnicity was, to see why he spoke so well. And surprisingly, he was Canadian. And I'm thinking he was an African-American professor, a doctor, but no, he was Canadian. And so I feel like if people outside of African-American race can get it and get racism and police brutality, everyone in America should be able to get it. And I also went and researched other cases, and I honestly went with the first case that was the most recent, which was the Amber case, the police officer. Another group of people, in particular, that relates to this podcast is dancers. Dancers show emotions through facials, through movement, and in reality, we don't know what dancers in the real world is going through, but we related to this topic because it is just a mess. We do not know what people are going through on an everyday basis, but we judge it and we be biased from just people's tones and their voice and their skin colors. So the main reason I picked this podcast by Malcolm Gladwell, Talking to Strangers, was because I related to it in real life. About 2 years ago, about 2017, I went to a nail shop that I always used to go to in high school, middle school, growing up, because it was in my community. One day I went and I wanted my eyebrows done, my feet done, my nails done. It was just a day of relaxation, as I thought it would be. So I proceeded to get my eyebrows done first. There was many people in the shop at the time. I went and got my feet done. They gave me an extra service that I did not ask for. So that was the first strike. I'm telling them after the service, hey, I didn't want this, but it's fine. I paid for it. Just me being me. Like, I got the service, even though I didn't pay for it. But just to be professional about the situation, that's fine. Proceeded to get my nails done. They was doing my nails very, very ugly. Shape was horrible, but me still being me, this is a day of relaxation. I'm going to enjoy my day no matter what. So through all of that, I was still fine, still happy and dandy. So it was time to check out and pay. So at this nail salon, which to me is another racial card, you have to pay before you could get your nails polished, which is weird because most of the time you pay after you get your service completed or done. So at the moment, their card machine was not working within the salon. They steady tried to run my card. So it was literally to the point where another person in the salon had to tell them, hey, if you keep running the girl's card, we're going to lock the card. Okay, so they give me my card back. Pause. There was another couple that come up. The card machine wasn't working, couldn't use the card. Let them out, come back and bring the money. Didn't check ID, didn't check anything, but they seemed like a married couple, so I guess they seemed more professional at the moment. Let them go. So I asked, hey, instead of just locking me in here before I could get my service completed, I could run to the dollar store, which is literally next door, to get cash back. She did not want to let me out. So of course I'm asking, you can't just you can't lock me in here. I'm not an animal, I'm not a dog. Finally I get out, come to the car with me. I have to see your ID, I have to see your ID. So I said, I don't have my ID. Let me go. She did not want to. Went to the dollar store. I did get cash back. Come back. There was a police officer waiting for me when I came back. They're literally telling them how I look. She cannot belong. She do not belong here. She left without paying, which is theft. That is thieving. That would be a criminal charge. You leaving a place of business without paying. But thankfully, in my favor, the police officer that arrived was African American, and he pretty much explained to me, you know, they're in the wrong. But at the moment, it was very heated because I kind of was offended because I never was a dishonest person in life. But people in America perceive African Americans to be thieves, to be unhonest and unethical. But in reality, we just want to live like everybody else and pay once the service is completed. So in this podcast, I totally get where Gladwell is coming from and how people perceive other people, and it's totally wrong and it's totally off. So in conclusion, in this podcast, I just want to say Gladwell was right, and it was very heartfelt. We do perceive people very wrong every day. We do not know when people are lying. We do not know when people are telling the truth, but we judge off of thoughts and biases. And to be completely honest, that is wrong. Thank you for watching my podcast.